Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden NFL 23 defensive tips video breakdown, I want to show how to counter man press beaters with this tactic. And what I'm going to show you is something that you can go ahead and use that's going to allow you to counter these type of man press beaters that you're finding when you're playing online. I'm going to show you an example. It does a pretty good job against a recent play that I just showed here on the Madden Guides YouTube channel that was called pistol double stack out, where I was able to get a receiver wide open. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that play again, or at least show you how it worked, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to counter it. Here's that play again. It's called the pistol double stack out, and what I did to get a receiver wide open was this. So let's go ahead and take a look at that receiver again. It's going to be this receiver right here. What I'm going to do here is, in the video breakdown that I showed, I put him on a streak, and then I hot routed the tight end or the receiver that's lined up right there as you look at your screen here on a flat route. And then I'm going to go ahead and snap it, and you'll see how wide open that the receiver that's stacked behind the tight end, which is Brown, that's the name of the receiver, or the B receiver. Watch how open he gets open here when I do this. And this is what I showed as far as attacking this type of coverage, and pretty much getting in there almost on a one-play touchdown if you can catch him in the right coverages, and that's what I showed. So what I want to do here for this video breakdown is show you one or two different counters that you can use to go ahead and take away that play. Not only this particular man press beater that I just showed, but show you how to counter some of the other man press beaters that you may come across. All right, let's go ahead and show some different defensive tactics that you can use when you call press man coverage to go ahead and counter these press man beaters that you might be running across online. Now, I will say this, I have not tested this against every single press man beater because there's so many out there. This is just an example of something that you might want to try and see if it works against some plays. Maybe your opponents, you've been playing somebody, maybe you're playing in a franchise league, whatever, they're running a lot of man press beaters, and you're like having problems trying to defend it. Here's some examples of some stuff you can try while you're in the lab and see if they work. So for example here, we're going to go back in that pistol double stack out play that I showed earlier where that receiver gets wide open. We're going to run this from the nickel, triple, nickel blitz as far as on the defensive side of things. And the first one is probably the most obvious one. I think a lot of guys will probably do. They'll try this inside shade. So let's go ahead and do inside shade, and then let's go ahead and call press man coverage. So right there, you can see on your screen that as we go ahead and zoom in here, what we've gotten right here as you look at it is that we've got this corner. He's lined up. Now he's got the tight end in his way, but then he's going to be in man coverage on this guy here. This defender here will be covering the tight end. This is the safety right there. Now you're still going to get the press man coverage here, even with the setup I'm about to do here on the offensive side of things. You're still going to get this. So there's the route combination. Let's go ahead and run this, but you're still going to get the press. The problem is he may not do a very good job. You're still going to get that receiver open. So that's something that someone might try and think that works. I'm not saying that on occasion may not work. It may work, but most of the time it's probably not something you're going to want to do. So let's go on to the next thing that you can do here that I like to do. And again, let's do the inside shade. That's what we did earlier. This time, rather than calling press man coverage, we're going to call show blitz. And as you look at your screen here, let's go ahead and see if this is basically here on this one. As you look at it, you've got something like this now. You'll notice that the safety now is in front of the corner right here. So you've got this guy, which is now covering the tight end, and you got this guy covering this receiver right there as you look at it. Now, this is another tactic you can try and see if this works for you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the tight end on the flat, and then here's this route combination that we've been running. Let's see what happens this time with this one. So you get the press, and you get a little better coverage with that. Okay, so that's something you can do. The only thing I will say about that when you do this is sometimes the corner gets caught up with the safety when they're trying to do the coverage. Somehow they run into each other, and then that corner might get a little behind that receiver. So you got to watch out for that. But you can do this and then do show blitz, and you still get the press. Now this time with this alignment, I did basically the same thing, but you'll notice this time, and you'll get this. Let's go ahead and zoom back in. It's a little different. This time you now have the corner in front, whereas before this guy, when I did it earlier, was in front. So just kind of watch this. But now this corner is going to cover this guy right here, and then this guy covers the tight end with the same setup that I've done earlier as far as on the offensive side, as far as the route combination. So there's the route combination. And then again, you're going to get the press, and you're still going to get the coverage pretty good right there. So that's one of the things that I like to do with this. I think does a pretty good job at defending it. So it's pretty simple. You just go ahead and hit the inside shade and then hit show blitz, and you should get something like this along the lines right there. Now, again, if you don't do it fast and you do it slow, you're going to get where that safety comes in front. Whereas if, let's go ahead and reset the play here. If you do it really fast, you should get the corner. Let's go back in here one more time. You should get the corner in front versus doing the safety. So here we go right there. See how we got that? So I did that one really fast, and now I got that. So you got two different ways you can do this. You can either have the corner in front if you go fast. If you go slow, you'll have the safety in front. So that's some things you can do. So that's just an example of how you can counter this and do a pretty good job at taking this away. And again, I like to suggest just going into the lab and see what you get on this, because you may not always get something. Here, like that time, I got beaten that time. So that's going to happen on occasion. So that's the downside of that. Now, the best way of defending this, and I'm going to go ahead and show this to you, what I feel like is the best way that's going to do a pretty good job at defending this most of the time. Let's go ahead and do the route combination real quick here. The way I think the best way to do it is to go ahead and do the inside shade. So let's go ahead and do the inside shade, do the show blitz, and then the final thing is to go ahead and call over top. That's the best way. Now, you're not going to get the press on this, which is fine, but I guarantee it, this will do a pretty good job at defending this almost every single time. And so it's the cat and mouse. When they see you in this coverage, as you look at this, when they see you in this coverage, man, they're thinking you're pressing. I would be thinking you're pressing if I see something like this. And I'm thinking, oh man, I've got an opportunity to beat this with that route combination. So I'm going to go with it. But see, it's totally different. They don't get that open, and never can get that pick there. If I was to take control of that corner, I'd be able to pick that off. So I feel like, in my opinion, the best way to counter this is go inside shade, show blitz, and then do over the top. That's going to assure you that you're going to be able to go ahead and counter that blitz for the most part, or not, excuse me, not the blitz, but counter the man press beater that your opponent might be running. So that's something I would suggest doing. Is I feel like that's the best way to counter that. Let's go ahead and run it one more time here. Again, you get you get a nice coverage there, and there right there we can pick that off for most if we wanted to, if we were to take control of them. So that's something you definitely want to consider doing. That way you do the cat and mouse type game. Now, one other thing I want to show here, I did not have base align on. I'm going to go into base align real quick here as I go back in here. Let me go on the other controller here. I'm going to go back into base align. I'm going to go ahead and just turn that on. So let's go and run that same defense and nickel blitz right there, and then run that stack out play. So again, we're going to go ahead. This time we're in base align. We're going to go ahead inside shade, go ahead and show blitz. And then I'm not going to do the over the top just yet. I'm going to go ahead and run this and just show you what happens with this. But again, this is with base align on. So you might try that and see that, but then again, you get that right there. So you got to be real careful with that. That's why I suggest whenever you run these type of defenses that I'm showing here, especially if they got man press beaters, you can mix and match this, because if you're playing somebody and you decide to go over the top, which is what I'm about to do here, they don't know you're doing that. And if they don't know you're doing that, then you're in good shape here, because they think that's a press. They think that's like your press covering right there, when you're really not. Here's your coverages right there. Remember, we're in base align, and now we got it pretty nice right here. So again, I can take control of them. So that's really what I wanted to go with this. I really think this is a way that you can counter these type of defenses and do a pretty good job at countering this type of stuff, these man press beaters, with what I'm showing. Now, there's other counters that they could do on the offensive side of things. They could do some hot routes and some other stuff if they see that. But what I'm trying to suggest to you is mix and match your press man coverage with over the top, and then you'll have more success, because they don't know when you're using over the top. And if you're using over the top, then you might get that pick and bait them into trying to throw that pass play right there and pick it off. So at any rate, guys, I hope this is something you guys can use. And again, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe if you guys enjoy these video breakdowns. Don't forget, we're on Facebook at Madden Guides on the Facebook, and on Twitter on Madden Guide is on the Twitter channel that I have over at that on the Twitter page there. So if you guys want to check that out, please do so. And again, I appreciate you guys watching the video breakdown.